Hello everyone, welcome to Minds at Work's Zoom tutorial. This is designed to give you an overview of all of the features we'll be using in our upcoming program together. So whether you are newer to Zoom or a regular Zoom user, we do hope you'll take a few minutes before our upcoming program together to take a quick look through this video to make sure you've got an initial sense of all of the features that we'll be using to make the most of our time together online. So without any further ado, I'll get right into it. So you should now be seeing my Zoom screen. This will look very, very similar to what you see upon login. Mine just looks slightly different because I'm logged in as the host. I'm also on a PC. So if you're on a Mac, things will look a little bit different. Blanket comment or disclaimer, I guess, for this tutorial is that things will look slightly different between operating systems and then depending on the dimensions of your screen or screens. I will also just add up top, we strongly recommend whenever possible that you attend our online programs via via a desktop computer or a laptop computer. Between videos of our faculty and your fellow participants and slides, we do think the learning experience tends to be best if you're on a computer. So whether again a laptop or a desktop, so if you're able to arrange that for the program, that would be our recommendation. So you will arrive in the meeting at our program together. You'll come in, your video will be turned off and your audio will be turned off, or I should say in most of our programs. So at different points throughout the program, you'll be turning your video on and your audio on as well. So I'll show you how to do that. For purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to leave my video and audio off, but I'll show you how to do it. So those options are accessible via this bottom toolbar. Here is mute and unmute on the far left. So hopefully that's fairly self-explanatory. You'll mute and unmute yourself at different points, maybe to ask a question or answer a question, or be working with your small group. So you've got that option there, as well as stopping and starting your video. We do hope that everyone leaves their video on during our programs to really foster that nice sense of community, seeing everyone's wonderful faces on the screen. So you'll be able to stop and start your video down there. Maybe if you're stepping away for lunch or a break, maybe you'd want to turn your video off. But again, you've got your option to mute and unmute and stop and start your video there. Another option I wanted to show you in the bottom toolbar here is the chat feature. So you see the little chat bar there, or a chat icon, I should say. If you click that, that'll open up an option on the right-hand side. I have a few demo messages there. I'll show you how to do another one. So there's two main things I wanted to show you in chat. You've got an option to send a message to everyone, which, as you can imagine, goes to everybody in the program. And you've also got an option to send a message to folks privately. You can see my cursor showing it says privately there. Your needs, of course, throughout the program may vary. Folks often use that private messaging system to, for example, send a message to the member of, of the Minds at Work team for maybe technical support or some content help. So that's just an option there to be mindful of the chat. You can send a message either to everyone or to one specific participant. Clicking that chat button again will close that window on the right-hand side. Next thing I wanted to show you was what we call the raise hands feature. This may be something that, depending on your program, faculty ask you to use throughout. This one is a little bit counterintuitive, I will say, but you can access these, what Zoom calls reactions, down in the Participants tab. So if you click that, similar to the chat, a new window will open up on the right-hand side. And you can see on my screen here, I've got these yes, no options and a few others. So as the host here, I can't raise my hand, so I don't have that icon to show you, but that will be right here, again, rest assured, in that Participants feature. If you don't immediately see it upon logging in, again, because screen sizes and dimensions vary a little bit, you may find that raise hands feature in more. Over here you can see I also have option to give a thumbs up or applaud. So that's some reaction options down in the Participants tab. The next thing I wanted to show you was around the different views for this program. you'll be likely using different ones throughout the program, just depending on the configuration. So right now I'm in something called Gallery View. So you can see I've got 2 participants up here on the screen. If we had, say, 4 others in the program, there'd be 4 other tiled images under here. As more people arrive to the program, there'll be a big blue arrow that appears on the right-hand side of the screen where you can page through all of the wonderful different faces. So this is the gallery view, sometimes called the Brady Bunch view. When you get more people on the Zoom, you'll have kind of that tiled look. We tend to use this in small group breakouts so you can see everybody's face, and perhaps in some of our smaller programs as well. There will also be times where you likely want to switch to the speaker view. So you can do that in the top right of your screen here. The toggle button will either say speaker view or gallery view. So I've just clicked that and I'm now in speaker view. So what speaker view does is it privileges the video of the speaker, the presenter, either the person who's asking a question or the faculty member, something like that. So you'll be able to see who's speaking really well. You'll have this nice big image of them. Another thing that you have the option of in this so-called speaker view will be when someone is speaking and sharing their screen and presenting slides. If you kind of move your cursor around the screen, you'll see a vertical bar appear that slides horizontally. So what you'll be able to do with that is shift the relative sizes of the speaker's video versus the slides. So for example, if we're in a lecture portion and you really want to get a good look at those slides, you might slide your slider, to be redundant, but slide that slider to get those dimensions that again work for you and your screen. So if you move the cursor around, you'll find it's a vertical bar that can be slid horizontally again to adjust that relative size of the speaker video versus the speaker materials. So once again, I'm in speaker view here. We recommend this when faculty are speaking with slides. And then we've got gallery view here, which is a great one for small group activities, breakout rooms, and things like that. So I'm just taking a breath here, catching up with my notes to make sure I'm staying on track. The next thing we wanted to show you is how to change your username. We do this occasionally throughout the programs, especially in small group activities where we're doing role plays or simulations. It can be a big help changing your name on the screen, like you can see here, to help remind your fellow group mates perhaps what person you're role playing. So to do that, you'll want to find your video image. In the top right, there'll be these 3 dots. Click that. That opens a new menu. One of those options is rename. In that new screen, you type your new name, hit OK, and you'll see that that's just changed at the bottom there. And that will that change will propagate throughout everybody else's screen. So you'll be able to see that again during our simulations and role plays. Another thing we'd ask too when you log in at the first session of our program, make sure you've got your first and last name in that rename feature too, just so we can see who's here. We can start organizing folks into breakout rooms to get you moved around in our virtual environment all that more efficiently. Then finally, I wanted to show you how to keep an eye both on Zoom and our web resources. So whether maybe it's a reading that faculty are referencing or some online slides maybe for one of our programs, there's a nice way to keep both Zoom up and running, so maybe you can see the faculty speaking and be looking at your other materials. So for an example, I'm going to use some materials, Google Slides from one of our June 2020 programs. Again, your program's materials will be different, but for purposes of demonstration, that's what I'm doing. This is another moment where things will differ a little bit, whether you've got a PC or a Mac, but I think generally the principles are the same. You'll want to minimize or shrink down the Zoom view to just a nice usable size, and then pull up on the other side of your screen, pull up those web resources. So again, this is our web resource document from our June 2020 program. So let's pretend we're in a Zoom meeting. the faculty are speaking and they're referencing some of these Google Slides. So I'll want to turn on speaker view. We can pretend that participant 1 is our faculty. So I've got kind of a nice view of them, and then we can imagine that they are talking about these online slides. So this way I've got Zoom on the left, our online slides on the right. So that's a nice way to be just keeping a great eye on everything all at once. Then finally, the last thing I wanted to highlight was that that I have bookmarked this resource document. The browser I'm using, Google Chrome, I can just tell that by the blue star there, and that it appears also in my bookmarks bar. Again, will be slightly different operating system to operating system, but the principle is certainly still the same. We strongly recommend doing this, even though we will send out links to any of your online resources multiple times, but if you do get disconnected from the internet, I think that the resources bookmarked online, you may be able to just get reconnected and get back on track that much faster than if, for example, you were back looking through emails trying to find the links there. So here again is just a view of kind of that split screen look, which you can change. You know, most browsers will dynamically adapt to the changes that you make. But again, between this split screen and keeping your online resources bookmarked, we're hopeful that will just help you keep a better eye on things throughout the program, get back to things, or switch between resources that much more efficiently, depending on what we're up to in the program at that moment. So those are the main things I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this little demonstration here. I hope this was helpful, making you feel a little bit more at ease with all the Zoom features that we'll be using in our upcoming program. For most of our programs as well, we do invite folks to sign on, usually about 15 minutes early, and a member of our team will do a walkthrough on these features again as well. So that can be a nice time. If you've got questions at the beginning of your program, you could use that chat feature and send one of us a message if you've got some particular questions. We'd be happy to help you with that. So once again, thank you so much for your attention to this tutorial. I hope it was helpful, maybe you learned a new thing or two, and we so look forward to working with you very soon.